well, the situation in Iran that remains grim, with at least 45 people losing their lives in the violence. Arson and violence continued across the country as protesters hit the streets against the Ali Khamenei regime. A police station that was also set ablaze in Mashhad while forces clashed with demonstrators in Tabriz. In the capital Tehran, arson and violence that erupted in several areas. The mob attacked Basij headquarters and a police officer's bike that was set ablaze. Protesters also chanted "Final Battle" slogans as they flooded the streets in huge numbers. Meanwhile, Iran's exiled Crown Prince again appealed to the people, urging them to keep demonstrations disciplined and as large as possible. Amid the raging violence, US President Donald Trump issued a sharp warning to Iran's leadership. He said the United States would take severe action if authorities escalated their response to nationwide protests and began killing demonstrators.
و قطعا توجه کردید که ازدحام جمعیت باعث این میشه که نیروها پس بروند و امکان ریزش رو به سمت شما بیشتر میکنند. بنابراین مهم استش که این انضباط و گستردگی رو حفظ بکنیم. من اولین فراخوان خود را امروز با شما در میان میگذارم و از شما دعوت میکنم که این جمعه و پنجشنبه 18 و 19 دی ماه را سر ساعت 8 شب همگی چه در خیابان‌ها یا حتی از منازل خودتون شروع به شعار سر دادن بکنید. در نتیجه بازخورد این حرکت‌ها من فراخوان‌های بعدی رو به شما اعلام خواهم کرد.
A call by Iran's exiled crown prince has seen thousands enter the streets of Iran's capital to protest against the government. The call by Reza Pahlavi had been kind of a question mark, especially as days of protests have been escalating in Iran over the country's ailing economy. Those protests had taken on an anti-government view over the last several days as they've intensified. Now, Reza Pahlavi had called for demonstrators to shout from their homes or to go out on the streets to show their support for a change of government there. And what witnesses in Tehran saw were thousands of people on the street, as well as people chanting "Death to the Islamic Republic," "Death to the dictator," and other chants in support of the Shah. Now, it remains unclear just how much support Pahlavi actually has. There's a lot of demonstrators who are very young and don't remember what life was like under the Shah prior to the 1979 Islamic Revolution. And also, it remains unclear just how much support he'll have because of the support he's received and the support he's given to Israel, which launched a 12-day war against Iran in June that killed over 1,000 Iranians. So as of right now, there's still a lot of question marks, but one thing is for certain, these demonstrations in Iran seem to be gathering strength. And while the Iranian government is apparently starting to disrupt the internet there, they haven't cracked down all the way on these demonstrations, allowing them to continue. But after these demonstrations tonight, it's unclear just how they'll respond, particularly as Pahlavi has called for another set of demonstrations tomorrow night.
President Trump has come out and said he does not want any violence against the protesters. Now, this was the 12th day in a row we've seen such protests. Now, today, it kind of widened across Iran. We saw the protests in west and east and north and south. There are reports about 36 people that are probably dead, 2,000 that have been arrested. And we've seen, President Trump today again reiterated his position. He went on a show and said that he's watching it very closely, and he's not choosing the harsh words, but Iran will have to pay. So I think essentially what is going on is America is closely watching what's going on over there. We've seen both leaders from Republican and Democratic side asking Iranians to go and liberate themselves. And some people even calling this is the revolution that should have happened in Iran years ago. Also, a little background. I mean, America has suffered, a massive diplomatic defeat in a way back in 47 years ago when there was a standoff with hostages. Jimmy Carter was the president back in the day. So I think for 47 years, America has been dealing with a hostile regime in Tehran. And this could be one of those things that U.S. is actually on the record encouraging the people to go out and protest and possibly seek a regime change. And just now, and we should probably break this news, CENTCOM has said they've issued a statement saying they're watching very closely what's going on in Iran and the anti-regime protests in Tehran. The U.S. will be watching very closely the Friday prayers tomorrow across Iran and how the regime responds. So this is coming from a very deep source in CENTCOM. So essentially, I think America is making the world know that America and CENTCOM, again, this is not a politician. CENTCOM is saying that they are closely going to watch this tomorrow. So I think they're all makings of a big revolution and possible regime change. But we also have to caution everybody. This is not again, this is not Taliban of 2001, right? This is Iran. They have a lot at their disposal that they can do. So they will probably try to wait it out. They will try to test the patience of protesters, maybe exhaust them, maybe arrest them. We've already seen how they've cut down internet and blackouts in cities. Even landlines are down. So we'll have to wait and watch how Iran responds. But the US definitely wants a regime change, and they're encouraging it. Not only President Trump, but both leaders of both the parties are openly saying, including Secretary Mike Pompeo, who was Trump's Secretary of State in his first administration, saying this could be a beginning of a new Iran.
And while India today interacted with Middle Eastern scholar Adrian Calamel on the Iran crisis, listen in to what he said.
I don't like to say history repeats itself, but it definitely it rhymes. And your headline there saying Iran imploding, and then your specific mention of the bazaars and the bazaars shutting down and the impact that had, that does have echoes of 1979. And that is why I think you've seen all the people come out in the streets. And I think that's one of the reasons why people have labeled this as an economic crisis. To be honest, the Islamic Republic has been going through an economic crisis for years now with, Weimar Republic inflation. So, yeah, it's you're going to start to see defections. You see the Crown Prince talking about possible defections, and with the defections, we also have to remember with the IRGC, they control the economy, about 70 to 80% of it, and there's a lot of people that are just living day to day and barely getting by. And within those IRGC ranks are people working for the government. They see their peers getting rich while they are barely scraping by. And you've had rolling protests for years now, where some of these people are really tired of, they're questioning not the zealots, but individuals are questioning, where's the humanity in this? Why are we doing this? Why are we violently repressing the people? So I do think 2026, from what I'm seeing right now, I have not seen, and I've been tracking this my entire lifetime since 1979. I have not seen protests on this scale. And this isn't hyperbole. This isn't me overstating the fact. This is countrywide, large cities, rural areas. It's across the nation, and the regime is shaking right now.